Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Monday. No, I keep saying November, but it's January 12th. I'm thinking November for some reason. January 12th, guys, Monday, and market has reversed the whole freaking Friday in the overnight. So that's how we get started this morning. All overnight, it was reversed pretty much right from the get-go. There's some news came out of the weekend. They had some statements about, I mean, the criminal investigation going on Powell. That's kind of felt a bit political, I think. And then he's talking about capping credit cards at 10%. Some news like that. I'm not sure exactly what is driving the market down like that, but it's definitely something is not working out well. And so we can see here, right? We were up here making new highs. Now, I'm not totally surprised. Every time you make new highs, you can certainly have this churn, if you wish, where they knock it down. So when they made new highs here the day before, they knocked it down and grinded back up again, knocked it down. So that's how market makes new highs. It's rare that it goes this it's got parabolic and it keeps going for a while. Now the opposite is very much true for the downside. The downside is going to be an elevator down when it happens, and I'm just kind of keeping my breath. Beginning of the year, new highs, grinding motion. Uh, there's a lot of positive things on the horizon, but also there's definitely potential for some elevated down days. So that's what we're looking at least how we get the day started. I mean, I would just say we're back range bound. I would not start off with a negative bias necessarily, unless I see them start taking out these 69.35s and start taking it lower below that. Before I keep going though, we don't have much news to drive the market today. We have a 3-year auction at 11:30. We have a 10-year auction at 1. So that's what we are going. Some Fed speakers. Tomorrow, though, Tuesday, we get a CPI read, and on Wednesday, a PPI read. And that's going to be for market moving, at least in the short term. They've been less and less important in terms of how big of a movement you get. But I would expect, given how oil or energy prices has been going, that we're going to probably see a downward, the CPI or the inflation rate keep going down. With oil prices or energy prices offsetting any potential increases, I would expect it to be not bad, not be a uh, crazy bad numbers by any means. I think the numbers are going to be decent to the downside. But we'll see. I mean, it's anyone's guess how that goes, but it's the bigger picture where they have energy prices, which is a huge component of driving inflation and price increases. Is everything gets transported with diesel and diesel fuel. It's I think it has a good prospect of being a good number. But anyway, so CPI, PPI, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Thursday, we get a little bit of stuff going on. Friday, yeah, nothing really spectacular, huge on the Thursday or Friday, but definitely a little bit of news each of those days. So given the knockdown, I'm just going to start off range bound. Looking at the sales strength, I would probably favor the long side still. They're keeping an eye on. Yeah, and I never like when you have a big knockdown like that in the overnight, the whole Friday reverse like this. I don't particularly care. It just kind of rubs you the wrong way, if you wish. It's just you have to always ask yourself if there's something else going on I'm missing. And I'm going to keep watching these areas, 69.35s and the 25s. First of all, if they start taking those out, I'll start thinking about, okay, this is going to be these areas. I'm going to start thinking that, okay, maybe I was going to look at the short side. And still looking for buying opportunities down here to that 69, 68.80, 68.90 support area. Still looking for those buying all the way down there. If they take out that 68.85 or 80.85, it's a long-term mode. It's the lower end of this distribution. Bets are off. Just stay on the short side at that point. They could technically run it just down here to the 68.40s, to the low volume area to 6800 or so on and so forth. There's support there on the way down here, but in terms of the bigger picture for the day session, I would definitely be on the short side in a big way if that starts happening. So there's going to be these three areas down here. So if the 6910, 6900, 6890, if these three areas comes out, yes, stay on the short side. definitely something going on at that point. But initially, I'm starting range bound. I'm going to look to buy against that 69.50, 35s, 25s, so rotations up. I'm going to look for short setups against the 69.70s, 80s, 69.90s, 7,000, 7,000 to 7,005, 7,015. So 7,005 and 15 here, looking for short setups all the way up there. Now, that's kind of just how you get the day started. Now, if they start clearing that 69.90s again, then we are right back up in this range where they potentially could make new highs again. So I would probably be leaning in on the long side a little bit more aggressively above 69.90. I think that if they start trading above that with a bit of conviction, I would probably be leaning on the long side, just not buying right into these areas, the 7,005 and 15s. So that's how I'm going to get started today. Always keeping my eye on the that lower end short side. Just in case the market get a little burp and start having one of those elevator down days. But we'll find out. I mean, it's always the same because it's right now capital flows to the upside. We had a pretty good knockdown in the overnight. That may be nothing. We may see them retrace this whole thing in a day session or not. All right. So it's just have to take that into consideration. And we know when to change our bias and change our minds. As long as the market wants to trade higher, we will trade with it. And if we see some major change on that thing and they start taking out some of these key support areas, that's when we have to kind of rethink it. And I keep emphasizing it, but when it happens in a day. It doesn't happen like slow grind to the downside. It grinds to the upside, but it does freaking elevator down. So you have to be careful about that. The two big areas to watch for. The first one is the 35s and 25s. That comes out, I start considering the short side. Still looking to buy against that 68.10, 6900, 69.80 or 68.90. Sorry, 68.90s. And below that one, bets are off. So that's how we get started. Let's see if this day is going to start off with a retracement of the overnight or not. That's going to be the key question. On the NASDAQ, also pretty good knockdown. As you can tell, they knocked this whole thing down right in back to that attractor area. So the whole freaking thing right to the reverse right back here to this lows LC period at 25,630. Retracing a little bit, but just back in the midpoint again. So same exact analysis on the NASDAQ. Now the lower edge of that guy is going to be down here at the 420s and the lower edge, 420s. So if the 400, 420s here, I'll be leaning in on the short side a lot harder. That you can see this is a nice congestion area right there. These highs of that prior distribution, low of this current distribution. Yeah, this is a good area for congestion. And if they take that out, there's a little volume edge. And if they take that out, we are in a little bit of trouble. But I mean, you can see here, Friday's trading. You take that and reverse it, we'll be right down to that lower end of the range. So well within a day worth of trading to get there. No problems at all. So starting off to look into buy weakness. I'm just starting off range bound. I would still favor the long side given Friday's trading. A big caveat for the overnight though. And so I'm looking to buy against the 675s, the 620s, 560s. Below the 560s, I would start thinking about the short side. Still looking to buy against the 520s, 460s down to the 400s. If these two areas come out, the 470s and the 400s, that's going to be this support area coming out, and that's when we had to start considering if this is really an elevator down day or not. So you had to be kind of nimble on that. And the big thing to try to identify is really when you have a day which is going to turn into more of a sell-off, a risk-off kind of a day. And it doesn't have to be a start of a big sell-off. It's just the market correcting. I think the headlines and the news out there is plenty positive for it not to have a big sell-off. But eventually, when the market keeps grinding higher like this, you're going to have a day when it knock it down. Yesterday, Friday's trading was definitely, I mean, you can argue that this was a retest failure right here. It's a right up here, nice retest failure setup. And if that's what really what's happened, then we may find ourselves in a little bit of a risk-off situation. But right now, market is still holding in a range well in the area where we can stay on the long side of this. So initially looking to buy against the 680s, 75 to 80s, the 620s down to the 560s. Below that one, start thinking about the short side, but still looking for buying opportunities against the 520, 550, 560s down to the 460s down to the 400s. And looking to buy, if you're on the short side, just make sure you don't sell into one of those support areas. That's the only thing you need to watch for there. Otherwise, trying to get on a short trade there and see how far they want to take it can certainly be a valid setup. So that's how we get started on the ES and NASDAQ. And the big question is really, is this big knockdown in the overnights a bigger issue or not? And that's going to be the big question for today's trading. Looking at the bonds, bond market is just kind of doing what it's doing, sitting in a tight range, going back and forth. Oops, I have the capital flow. It looks like a big blob. You can see how that's low volume area here is starting to fill out. There's a little bit of volume building up closer and closer. And that's going to be, that's pretty much the same. It's going to be a pretty tight area. This goes back to April last year, and you can see how it's just pretty much holding in a range. Pretty tight range. I'm just going to stay range bound in that area, looking to buy 3 levels up, 3 levels down, maybe 4. So initially looking to buy against the 1502s down to the buck, 1428 down to the 1418s. Now below the 1428s, I would be more aggressive on the short side. I mean, you can see how nice that ledge has been here, holding it together the last few days. And on the upside, we pretty good resistance here at the 31 to 116 even. So 116 the buck down to the 1428 is our overall range. If you trade outside of that, we may have a directional move. Otherwise, I would like to look for my regular setup. I'm going to buy against the 6s, the buck, and 1428. Looking to sell strength 14s. 14, I see 14 to 16s, 1522s up to the 1530 to 116s. So that's pretty straightforward, tight range. And just have to be, as I keep saying, tight range, just have to be patient, wait for the setup, and try and take it when you have a few bars which doesn't extend. Haven't been getting these big retest failure setup or bigger ones when it pulls back, comes back up, fails. Also, haven't been as obvious in a tight range like this, but it's you just have to be patient. Then watch see when see where they're stalling, click in an order, and be prepared to wait for it a bit. So that's the bond market, range bound trading on that guy. But back to the ES and NASDAQ. So again, for the ES, the key areas of support I'm watching right now is going to be the 35 to the 25. That's the level 1. Below that one, I'm starting to think short side of the market. Still looking for buying opportunities at that 69.10, 69 down to 68.90s. These 3 areas. The only thing I have to worry about here, if you take out the 25s, is don't sell into one of those. Try to get on a short trade either when you take it out or if you bounce off it or rotations down. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. But if you're if you get in on the short trade, you just gonna try to ride it on the downside, see how far they want to take it. But it's one of those things. Those are the 2 key areas I'm watching for potential risk off kind of a day. And on the way up, looking to sell strength above that 69.90. I would be more inclined to lean in on the long side. I think that's where we have a shot at taking this higher again at that point. And on the NASDAQ, those levels again. On the NASDAQ, those levels was the 830s here on the NASDAQ. And on the downside, it's going to be this area here, the 560s. So below 560s or above that 830-40s, we may have a directional move again. But as you can see, I mean, it's the big concern I have for today's trading is really that the overnight retraced the whole Friday session. That's never a good sign, but it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to read too much into it unless you see the day session start really knocking this down. All right, so that's how we get started, guys. Uh, Good trading, and I will see you guys back at let's see you guys back at 11:30 for the next update. All right, guys, later. Good trading. There you go. My name is spelled today. All right, guys, later.